some atomic nuclei are unstable and they break up into stable nuclei. Okay, so what is happening? What is shown over here is basically it is a large ball of protons and neutrons. It's a heavy nucleus. Okay, and it has thrown up a small lump of particles. You can see that there are 2 protons and 2 neutrons. Okay, so this process of breaking up an unstable nucleus into stable nuclei is called radioactivity. Okay, that, and it breaks up on its own. It breaks up. Okay, you can't break it up. We can't control that way. Okay, they are there and they break up, and there is certain probability. So it is all statistical event. We'll come to that in the next slide, because that is also very important for our understanding of how carbon dating is done. A common way of breaking particle is it emits a lump of 2 protons and 2 neutrons. Okay, single particle, but it contains 2 protons, 2 neutrons, and this particle is called alpha particle. Okay, some of these kind of information is also going to be useful if some of you are planning to give UPSC exams. So another way of making it stable is convert one of the neutrons into proton. So if there are really large number of neutrons there, okay, you may convert, I mean, it may convert one of the neutrons into protons. Now you know that neutron is neutral. If it is converted into proton, a proton has positive charge, so negative charge should go somewhere, because neutral thing you cannot, there is a law in physics which says that you cannot create a charge. Okay, so if neutron is converted into proton, simultaneously a negative charge should be also created. Okay, because positive charge is created, negative charge also should get created, because total amount of charge should always remain constant. Okay, that's a law in physics, that is called conservation of charge. Okay, so what you have is it emits electron, and that emitted electron is generally with very large speed. Okay, and it is very close to speed of light, which is about 3 lakh kilometer per second. With that high speed, electron is thrown out. Okay, and that electron is called beta particle. So it has got very large amount of energy because it has got very large velocity. Though electrons are light in mass, just because of very high speed, okay, these beta particles can have large amount of energy. Okay, and so there are 2 ways typically atom breaks. One way is it will just break a lump of 2 proton and 2 neutron called alpha particle. Another way is it will convert neutron into proton and it will emit electron. So that electron, high velocity electron, is called beta particle. So what is shown over here, we'll come to this diagram a bit later, but it is purely, first of all, radioactivity is a random process. It is purely random process at nuclear level, and there is a fixed probability of radioactivity. Now, why am I saying purely random process? Because it is not possible to know which atom will break. If it is unstable, which atom will now break in the next 1 hour, which atom will break in the next 1 year, which atom will break, we cannot say, but there is a fixed probability. Okay, now what does that mean? Let's consider a simple case. You toss a coin. Okay, so when you toss a coin, what do you get? You get head and tail, right? Head or tail, one of the 2 things you get. Which is more probable, head or tail? When you toss a coin and it's a fair coin, which is more probable? Anyone? The 50% chance, correct. Okay, it's going to be 50% chance. Okay, now let's suppose I toss 100 coins. Okay, if I toss 100 coins, how many approximately heads I will get? 50, correct. Okay, I will get approximately 50 heads. Okay, now if I ask, when I'm going to toss 100 coins, I take, let us suppose, 5th coin. Okay, yes, the answer is correct. It is approximately I'll get 50 heads and 50 tails. Fine. My question now is, I have got 100 coins, all of them same, identical, I mean, they're all fair coins. Okay, and I'm tossing them. I will get result, I know, 50 heads and 50 tails. But suppose I'm asking, out of these 100 coins, if I take, say, 9th coin, okay, I'm just taking some ninth coin, and I want to predict what will happen to that coin. Will that come as head or tail? Can I say by certainty whether it will be head or tail? No. Okay, I can't say with certainty that whether any particular coin will come as head or tail. What I can do surely is, when I toss 100 coins, I know approximately 50 will come head and 50 will come tail. Okay, so tossing is a random process. The outcome of tossing is going to be random. But still there is a mathematics which says that though process is random, okay, when I'm going to toss 100 coins, I'm expecting to get 50% head and 50% tail. Which 50, that I can't say. The same thing happens in case of radioactivity. That which atom will disintegrate, I cannot see. But there is a probability which says that so many particles will get disintegrated, which means they will either emit alpha particle or beta particle. Okay, some process will happen. Okay, and they will change from one form to another form. Okay, so that is what is going to happen. This process is not affected by temperature or chemical state in which atoms are bound to other atoms. Now this is very important, because otherwise one may think that say for example carbon 14 atoms are there, okay, and they have certain probability that they will disintegrate into nitrogen 14, okay, by emitting beta particle. So what is happening here? Carbon 14, see, carbon 14 means there are 6 protons and 8 neutrons. Okay, the difference is number of neutrons. Fine. Now, if one of the neutron gets converted into proton and electron is given out, what will happen? Now there will be 7 protons and 7 neutrons, but 7 proton means it is a nitrogen atom. Okay, and it will have 7 neutrons. So it is going to be 7 protons, 7 neutrons. One of the neutron got converted into proton, and that process was the beta particle which was given out. Okay, this beta particle people can detect, and they can count how many beta particles were emitted. That will tell them the number, how many atoms got converted from carbon 14 to nitrogen 14. Okay, so it is possible to count how many got converted, because you can collect how many beta particles came. So your detectors can detect how many beta particles came, and based on that one can calculate how many atoms got converted, because it is difficult to see atoms. Atoms are very, very small. They are 10,000 times smaller than what we can, what is the smallest thing that we can see with our eyes, not our eyes, with microscopes. Okay, with the best of the microscopes, whatever you can see, atoms are 10,000 times smaller than that, and therefore atoms cannot be seen. But what you can detect using electronic detectors is this beta particles which are given out. Now you may say that if I heat carbon, probably this process will, this is already unstable, so if I heat it, I will increase this rate. No, that doesn't happen. You heat it, you put it in any chemical, you put this carbon in acid. Suppose this carbon is out of wood. Okay, you put it in acid, it is not going to change. This radioactivity is not going to get affected just because you have put this in acid, you have put this in fire. You do whatever, radioactive process is not going to get affected, because all these processes, burning into fire or putting into acid or doing some chemical reaction, all they are related to the outermost electrons. Remember, I talked about the atom is like a big stadium. The nucleus sits at the center of the pitch at the size of fly, and electrons are like the people in the stadium, which are electrons are effectively moving at that long distance. So all chemical reactions are basically handled by those electrons. Okay, they do not affect the central nucleus. So the radioactive process is not affected by temperature. It is not affected by chemical state. It is possible to detect alpha beta particles using the radioactive detectors. Okay, this number help us to determine how many atoms got disintegrated, how many atoms were already present. Okay, because how many particles are coming. Suppose I have got a detector, and that detector is detecting. Suppose I got one sample, and I'm detecting a beta particle which is coming out of this radioactive carbon, this unstable carbon. Okay, And suppose I get something like 100 activities. Okay. Suppose I take another sample, and in that another sample, in the same detector, instead of 100 activities, I'm finding out 120 activities, 120 activities. So what I can say that the other sample contains 20% more of carbon-14, because more number of carbon-14 will be there, more beta particles will be produced. It is same as I toss 100 coins, I get 50 heads. If I toss 120 coins, I'll get 60 heads. So from where this extra 10 heads came, that is because original number of tosses were large. In the same way, I have got more number of carbon atoms present, then I will get more number of beta particles detected. Okay. So now let us come to the concept of what is half-life. Okay. So half-life is an interesting concept. Every radioactive isotope has something called specific half-life. In this particular period, half of the original atoms present disintegrate. Okay. So say for example, if half-life of some particular radioactive material is say 10 days, what will happen? After 10 days, whatever, suppose originally it was 1 gram, after 10 days it will be half gram will remain. After another 10 days, half of half gram will remain, because half will disintegrate. After another 10 days, half of that will disintegrate. Okay. So on the very first day, suppose at the beginning of the month, suppose say 10 gram was available. After 10 days, 5 gram will be available. After 10 days, that means total 20 days, okay, 2.5 gram will be available. And after 1 month, that is after 30 days, okay, half of 2.5, that is 1.25 gram will be available. Okay. So the amount will go on falling. Okay. Every 10 days, whatever was remaining, half of that will disintegrate and only half will remain. That's why it's called half-life. So half-life of carbon-14 is 5,730 years. Okay, what it means? After 5,730 years, whatever carbon-14 was originally available, half of that will disintegrate into nitrogen-14 and only half will remain. After if I double this, okay, to double this is going to be 10,000 plus 1,000, 11,400. So after 11,400 years, only 1/4 will remain. After 3 times this, only 1/8 will remain. After 4 times this, only 1/16 of original will remain. Okay, so you can see here that if originally whatever is the fraction, after 1 half-life, half part remains. After 2 half-life, 1/4 only remains. After 3 half-life, 1/8 remains. After 4 half-life, 1/16 remains, and so on. Okay, so half will disintegrate in a given time. That is because of the probability. Okay, we cannot say which half. It will be randomly chosen. It's like tossing of the coin. Okay, we can't say which coin will become head or which will become tail. Okay, but 50% will become head, 50% will become tail. So it means after 5,730 years, half of the original carbon-14 is converted into nitrogen-14. And after 11,460 years, half of carbon-14 will be further converted. Okay, so half of half, which means 1/4 of carbon-14 will be further converted.